Okay, welcome back in. I'm going to be reviewing the two games, yesterday's championship games between the NFC and the AFC, respectively. The first game took place in Philadelphia as we had the Eagles playing host to the Washington Commanders. So, two division opponents were competing in the championship game. You can see the final score was 55 to 23. I did watch the game. It was close at the start, but then in the second half, the Eagles definitely took over. So after the first quarter, the Eagles had two touchdowns. Washington only had a field goal, so it was 14 to 3 after the first quarter. At halftime, it was 27 to 15. So it was a 12-point game at that point. Washington could have had two touchdowns, could have made a game of it. They were only able to get one touchdown and a 2-point conversion in the third quarter. The Eagles would get one touchdown themselves. So it was 34 to 23. So it was an 11-point game at that point. And then, or no, sorry. So it's 27 plus 7. That'd be 24. 24 to 23. 20. Why am I struggling with this? 27 plus 7 is 34. So 34 to 23. So it's 34 to 23. So it was a 11-point game heading into the third quarter. There we go. And then the Eagles got three straight touchdowns, winning the game 55 to 23. We'll take a look at some of the individual stats. So Jaden Daniels on the Washington Commanders side would finish with 255 yards, a 60.42 completion percentage. He had one touchdown and one pick. He also led the team in rushing, 48 yards on 6 carries and one touchdown. Zach Ertz, the former Eagle, would lead the team in receiving yards. He had 104 catches, 104 receiving yards, apologize, and 11 catches. There we go. On the other side of the ball, Jalen Hurts would finish with 246 passing yards, 71.43 completion, one touchdown, no picks. Saquon Barkley, a beast, led the team in rushing, no surprise there, 118 yards on the ground on 15 carries and 3 touchdowns. And A.J. Brown, who was very ineffective in his 2 games prior to this, had a breakout game, 6 catches, 1 touchdown, 96 yards, averaging about 16 yards a catch, compared to the fact that he was a no-show in the last 2 games and the divisional round and the championship round as that. So the Eagles are back in the Super Bowl the second time in 3 years. On the flip side of that, we had the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. This was a very entertaining game, and I knew between the 2 games, this would be the game to watch. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about that. So after the first quarter, the Chiefs had a narrow 7-3 lead. At halftime, they had both teams would score 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. They were up 21 to 16, so they had a 5-point lead heading into halftime. Buffalo would get a touchdown in the third quarter. Unfortunately, they were not able to convert on third down, so they had a narrow 22 to 21 lead. In the fourth quarter, Buffalo would get a touchdown, and the Chiefs would get a touchdown, a field goal, and a 2-point conversion on that touchdown, so 11 points, and ending the game 32 to 29. Buffalo did have a chance with just about 3 minutes to go in the game. They couldn't convert on one of their several fourth downs, and I know the one thing about the fourth down was the 4th and 1 when it looked like one judge decreed he had the first down, the other one had him stopped. They would review it, say it was a turnover on downs, and then the Chiefs ended up kicking the late field goal and got the win. So they are now back in the Super Bowl for the 3rd straight year and the 5th time in the Mahomes-Reed era. The only time they lost was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the 2020-21 season. So can they three-peat? It's very likely and it's very possible. Will they? Well, I guess we'll find out here in about 2 weeks. As for my picks, I would finish 0-2 with my predictions. So I've evened up my playoff record at 6-6. So if I get the Super Bowl correct, I'll finish at 7-6, and if not, I'll finish below 500. As for the Chiefs and the Bills, so KC would win this game, as I mentioned previously. So they now have a 5-2 lead when it comes to the playoff series. And for the overall record, I'll have to double check on that one. But this was the 58th time that the Chiefs and Bills have played each other in the regular season and in the postseason. The big question for the Bills is going to be, what else can they do? They've already won the AFC East 5 years in a row, but they just can't seem to get over that hump and get back to a Super Bowl, which they're dying to do since it's been almost 3 decades since the team has been to the big dance. So we'll see what moves are made in the offseason for the Bills, but I will have a review very soon about Buffalo. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, and as always, take care.